a score draw from the Metropolitano, and Arsenal should have won that football match. Welcome to James Arsenal Analysis. I am James. And if you have been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that I call it as I see it. No agenda, no hysteria, just honest, passionate Arsenal analysis from someone who bleeds red and white. Before we get into everything, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on your notifications because this channel is covering every single step of Arsenal's Champions League run. And trust me, you do not want to miss a single video. Smash that like button if you are an Arsenal supporter watching this anywhere in the world tonight. Drop a comment below and tell me where you are watching from. And stay until the very end because I am breaking down every player, every decision, every controversy, and what it all means for the second leg at the Emirates. Let us get into it. The Wanda Metropolitano is one of the most hostile atmospheres in European football. Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid are masters at building pressure inside that stadium, using the crowd, using intensity, using physicality, and making visiting sides feel like they are drowning before the match has even truly begun. Arsenal did not drown tonight. They swam, and at times, particularly in that first half, Arsenal were not just surviving in Madrid. They were dominant. They were composed. They were playing Champions League football at the very highest level. Mikel Arteta had his side set up intelligently, and the Gunners earned a result tonight that keeps them firmly in control of this tie, heading back to North London. But here is what is really eating at me right now. Arsenal should have come home with more. The result on the scoreboard, a 1-1 draw, does not tell the full story of what happened inside that stadium. And if you were watching it, you know exactly what I am talking about. Let us start with the positives, because there were plenty of them, and they deserve recognition. Mikel Arteta made a fascinating tactical decision going into this game. Declan Rice was deployed in a deeper position, sitting and screening, allowing Martin Zubimendi to push higher and influence play further up the pitch. It was smart, it was deliberate, and in the first half, it worked to near perfection. Declan Rice in that first half was outstanding. His distribution was sharp, his positioning was intelligent, and time and again, he was finding teammates around corners, slipping passes into tight spaces, and giving Arsenal the foundation to build their attacks. When Rice is at his best in that role, he is one of the 2 or 3 best central midfielders in European football. And in that opening 45 minutes, we saw exactly why. Martin Zubimendi alongside him was a joy to watch. The Spaniard signed from Real Sociedad in the summer has been one of the best pieces of business Mikel Arteta has ever conducted. He was calm, composed, precise, and he was competing hard for every duel. In a stadium as ferocious as the Metropolitano, to play that well with that level of conviction and confidence tells you everything about the character of this man. He is the real deal, absolutely the real deal. And then there is the moment that changed the game in Arsenal's favour. Victor Gyökeres. That driving run into the Atletico box was a statement of intent. The Swedish striker, who Arsenal signed permanently from Sporting Lisbon this summer, showed exactly why Arteta went out and spent top money to bring him to the Emirates. He is powerful. He is direct. He makes things happen. He won the penalty with physicality and intelligence, and then he stepped up and converted it with ice-cold composure. Victor Gyökeres scoring in a Champions League semi-final away at Atletico Madrid. The man does not know the meaning of the word pressure. It was a landmark moment in what is already shaping up to be a landmark season for the Swede. Before the penalty, Gyökeres had already been involved in one of the best attacking moments of the game. His driving run and cross found Martin Odegaard arriving into the box, and the Arsenal captain had a chance that he desperately wanted to put away. It did not fall perfectly, but the connection between Gyökeres and Odegaard in that moment showed real chemistry and real quality. Piero Hincapié also had an early opportunity from the right that he could not direct on target, but his presence in that first half was positive. The Ecuadorian, on loan from Bayer Leverkusen, has been a revelation this season. His ability to operate in both the defensive and attacking phases gives Arteta real balance on that left side. Nuni Madueke was bright throughout. He was direct. He was fearless on the ball. He drove into the box early in the game, he picked out crosses, and he forced Jan Oblak and the Atletico backline to be constantly alert. And Gabriel Martinelli on the opposite flank was showing a much more disciplined and patient version of himself. He was defending, he was working hard to track back, and he was picking his moments on the ball rather than forcing the issue. It was a mature performance from the Brazilian. William Silapa grew into the game after a slightly rocky moment early on, where he gave the ball away in his own half. To his credit, he did not let that mistake define his performance. He reset, he refocused, and he got better as the game went on. That is the hallmark of a top-level centre-back. And then there was Gabriel. Gabriel was exceptional. You want to talk about heroes in this football club right now. Gabriel Magalhaes is at the centre of it all. His goal-saving block on Antoine Griezmann, who had a certain equaliser lined up, was one of those moments that will live long in the memory. He got his body in the right position at exactly the right time. It was pure instinct from a world-class defender. A clean sheet without that block would have been gone. Gabriel kept this tie in Arsenal's favour almost single-handedly in that one moment. An 8 out of 10 performance. Every single point of that rating is deserved. Now, let us talk about the second half, because this is where the frustration really starts. The momentum shifted after the interval. Atletico, as Diego Simeone teams always do, came out with greater aggression and a different tactical shape. Marcos Llorente pushed higher on the right side, and that started to pin Piero Hincapié much deeper than Arteta would have wanted. The spaces that Arsenal had enjoyed in the first half began to close. And then came the penalty. Marcos Llorente's shot strikes the arm of Ben White. Now, I want to be fair here. Anyone who has watched European football over the last few years knows that in UEFA competition, handball decisions have become some of the most inconsistent, frustrating, and frankly baffling calls in the modern game. You can argue Ben White's arm was in a natural position. You can say there was no intent. You can make the case that the ball-to-arm contact at that distance was unavoidable. But the harsh reality of how handball rules operate in European competition right now is that when the ball strikes the arm, more often than not, the referee is going to give it. Ben White was unfortunate. The laws of the game in their current interpretation left him with almost no way out of that situation. Julian Alvarez stepped up and scored against the run of play, against the narrative of the game that Arsenal had been writing so convincingly. The Argentine international, who has been nothing short of sensational this season for Atletico, making history as the first player in the club's history to score 10 Champions League goals in a single campaign, showed exactly why Simeone trusts him with the biggest moments. And suddenly, 1-1. The Metropolitano was rocking. Atletico had momentum. They hit the post shortly after. The nerves were jangling, but Arsenal held on. They showed character. They showed resilience. They showed they are a team capable of going to one of the most difficult stadiums in European football and coming away with a result. This is where I have to talk about what happened with Eberechi Eze. And I want to say this clearly and calmly because the anger I feel about this situation is real, but I want to make the argument properly. Eze came on to replace Martin Odegaard. His introduction gave Arsenal fresh energy, fresh creativity, and a different dynamic going forward. And then came the moment. He was in the box. He was clearly trodden on. The referee saw it. The referee awarded the penalty. Then VAR got involved, and the penalty was overturned. Now, I want to be careful here. I am not going to sit here and tell you that the officials were corrupt or that there was some grand conspiracy against Arsenal. That is not who I am, and that is not what this channel is about. But what I will say is this. The inconsistency in how VAR applies its interventions in this competition has to be questioned. Earlier in the game, the ball strikes Ben White's arm, and the penalty stands after review. Then Eze gets stepped on in the box. The on-field referee sees enough to award it, and VAR recommends it be overturned. If you are an Arsenal supporter, sitting at home or in that stadium tonight, you have every right to feel aggrieved. Because that is two major officiating decisions in one game that have gone against your team, and the outcomes of those decisions directly shaped the scoreline. Eze himself clearly believed he had won the penalty. His reaction said everything. And the frustration felt by every Arsenal supporter watching that moment is entirely legitimate. Let me go through the performances one more time, because this is where we really dig into the details. David Raya, he was beaten from the spot, and there was genuinely nothing he could do about Alvarez's penalty. He also made a good save to deny Lookman after some unconvincing defending from his fullback. A solid 7. He was present when he needed to be. Ben White. Look, the 5 rating from the Football Press reflects a difficult night. The handball controversy aside, he did struggle defensively in certain moments, particularly in the duel with Lookman in the box that could have been punished more severely. But context matters. He was unlucky in ways that were partially outside his control. William Saliba, an early error that thankfully came to nothing, and then an increasingly assured performance as the game progressed. A 7 that feels right. Big players have moments of uncertainty on the biggest stages, and Saliba's response to his own mistake was the response of a top footballer. Gabriel, I have said it, an 8. One of the performances of the night, that block on Griezmann, class personified. Piero Hincapié, a 7. He was effective in the first half, had that early chance, and carried the ball well from the left side. The second half was more difficult as the Atletico shape changed and Llorente's movement pushed him deeper. Martin Zubimendi, a 7, and honestly, you could make an argument for more. The confidence and the quality he showed in that environment was remarkable. He is becoming one of the most important players in this Arsenal side. Declan Rice, a 7 that requires some nuance. His first half was genuinely excellent. His second half influence dropped, and when Rice is not dictating the tempo of a game, Arsenal can lose their shape and their rhythm. He needs to find that second half level again for the Emirates. Martin Odegaard, a 7. He contributed to the structure and movement of Arsenal's play, and he had that early chance after being found in the box. But the decision to substitute him after the Atletico equaliser was puzzling to many people watching, including me. Odegaard is your captain. He is your creative heartbeat. Taking him off at that moment, in that situation, was a call that Arteta will be quietly reflecting on tonight. Noni Madueke, a 7. A bright, energetic performance from the Chelsea signing. He pressed hard, he created moments, and he showed the directness that Arsenal supporters have loved from the moment he arrived. He will be better for this experience. Victor Gyökeres, an 8. In the first half, he was a different level. The run, the cross for Odegaard, the penalty won and converted. He was outstanding. The second half was harder for him, and Arteta took him off as he could not get into the game in the same way after the break. But on the basis of that first 45 minutes alone, Gyökeres earned his 8. He delivered in a moment that demanded everything from him. Gabriel Martinelli, a 6. Better than recent performances, more patient, more disciplined, but he faded in the second period. There is still room for more from the Brazilian in games of this magnitude, and the substitutes. EZE came on and almost had a profound impact on this tie, only for the game's most controversial moment to deny him. A 7 for the energy and the fight he showed. Gabriel Jesus was a 5, making little additional impact beyond the man he replaced. Bukayo Saka, still building his fitness back from that Achilles injury, earned a 6 for his cameo. You could see glimpses of the player he is. The connections he was finding, the spaces he was identifying, he is not fully fit yet, but the signs are encouraging. Leandro Trossard was a 5, useful in tight spaces late on, but not influential enough to change the game. And Christian Mosquera, who had to come on because White was really struggling, showed real character. He had a shot from an unlikely position that stung the gloves of Oblak. A 6 for a young player thrown into an enormous occasion. Here is the thing about this result. A 1-1 draw away at Atletico Madrid in a Champions League semi-final. First leg is a genuinely good result for Arsenal. Let me not lose sight of that in the frustration of the officiating decisions. Arsenal have an away goal. Arsenal are bringing the tie back to the Emirates Stadium, where Arteta's side have been formidable in European competition this season. The crowd will be behind them. The atmosphere will be electric. And Atletico Madrid, as Diego Simeone knows better than anyone, will have to come to North London and find a way to score. Simeone's teams are built for the Metropolitano. They feed off that energy, that pressure, that hostile environment. Coming to the Emirates, where the dynamic is reversed, is a very different challenge for them. Julian Alvarez is their match winner. The Argentine is in the form of his life, and Arsenal's defensive unit will need to be absolutely locked in when he receives the ball anywhere near goal. Griezmann at 35 is still dangerous, still intelligent, still capable of moments of brilliance, and if Lookman is fully fit for the second leg, his pace and directness will be a genuine threat. But Arsenal have Gyökeres, they have Saka, who is getting sharper with every passing day. They have Odegaard, who will want to make a statement after tonight. They have EZE, who has a point to prove after the penalty controversy. They have Rice, who knows his second half tonight was not at his level and will be demanding more of himself. They have Zubimendi. They have Gabriel and Saliba as one of the best centre-back partnerships in European football. And they have Mikel Arteta, a manager who has proven time and again that he learns, he adapts, and he prepares his team for every single scenario. Arsenal are favourites to reach the Champions League final. That statement is not hype. It is an honest assessment of the quality in this squad and the position they are in after tonight. I have to acknowledge something. This season has been extraordinary for Arsenal Football Club in so many ways, and it has also been one of the most testing. The injury list has been brutal at times. Saka has missed a significant portion of the campaign. Timber has been fighting to stay fit. Calafiori, Marino, Odegaard all had periods where they were unavailable, and yet here we are in the Champions League semi-finals. The summer recruitment was transformational. Victor Gyökeres gave Arsenal the ruthless goal-scoring presence they had been missing at the top of the pitch for years. Zubimendi provided the midfield control and intelligence that unlocks everything around him. Madueke brought pace, directness and competition for places in the wide areas. Eze gave Arteta a creative option off the bench that can shift games. Mosquera came in and has been a composed, reliable presence at the back. Hincapie on the left has been excellent. Norgard added experience and quality to the midfield group. This is a squad built for the very biggest occasions. And the very biggest occasion of all, a Champions League final, is now within touching distance. To Diego Simeone, to Julian Alvarez, to Antoine Griezmann, to everyone connected with Atletico Madrid, you are a wonderful football club. You have a legendary manager. Your atmosphere tonight was everything we expected and more. But you have to come to the Emirates now, and that is a very different story. The Gunners will be waiting. So there it is, a 1-1 draw from the Metropolitano. Two controversial officiating decisions that cost Arsenal a potential victory. Two standout performers in Gabriel and Victor Gyökeres earning their 8 out of 10 ratings with performances of real quality. And a second leg at the Emirates to come where Arsenal will have everything they need to finish this job and reach the Champions League final. I am not devastated by tonight. I am fired up by it because I know what this Arsenal team is capable of. I know what the Emirates is going to be like on that night, and I know that Mikel Arteta will have his side ready. That is it from me on James Arsenal Analysis. If you found this analysis useful, please subscribe to the channel right now, hit the like button, turn on your notifications, share this video with every Arsenal supporter you know, because we are building something special here together. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who was your player of the match tonight? How do you see the second leg playing out? I read every single comment and I want to hear from you. I am James. This is James Arsenal Analysis, and Arsenal are going to the final. Come on, you Gunners.